Our next presentation is titled, We've Failed Math. Subtracting God from math squanders its true purpose. Please welcome Katelyn Waugh.
Math is boring. Math is useless. Math will never get me anywhere in life. Hearing these types of comments throughout my school years shocked me. I recognized that many of my classmates had built up a resentment toward math. But I liked math. I started observing my math classes more closely, and I discovered why my classmates constantly had disinterested looks on their faces. We are taught to be calculators. We are taught to memorize brain-numbing formulas. We are taught to treat math as a tool for personal gain and societal benefit. Parents may not like math either, but you likely believe it's a practical skill that your students need to learn in order to secure a high-paying job. But as a devoted Christian and aspiring mathematician, I sat there in my math classes, thought of those discouraging comments, and asked myself, is this really it? Is this all that math holds for us? Although our culture associates math and education only with practical purposes, I argue that there is more to math. The true purpose of math is to grow our imaginations, create a sense of wonder, and ultimately bring us closer to God. In classrooms, we should implement a teaching approach that emphasizes imagination, exploration, and love for our Creator. First, the Bible proves that God built our world on a foundation of mathematics. In Colossians 1:16, we learn that God created all things, in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things were created through Him and for Him. Math forms building blocks in aspects of nature all around us. For example, when we skip stones, each skip creates its own set of concentric circles that expand outwards. Even the layers of the onions you cut for dinner are made up of concentric spheres. And the next time you encounter a sweet golden honeycomb, pay attention to the hexagonal cells built from beeswax. These examples, along with countless others, create a sense of wonder in us. We encounter these mathematical shapes and patterns, and we are left asking, how is it that the world had been designed this way? Additionally, not only do we see God's creation in math, but we see a reflection of His transcendence. Numbers are transcendent and unchanging, as 2 + 2 will always be 4, and triangles will always have 3 sides. Theologian and philosopher St. Augustine of Hippo states, "The intelligible structure and truth of number does not pertain to the bodily senses. It remains pure and unchangeable." Because numbers are constant throughout time, the math the early Greeks studied is still a part of the same math we study today. And we learn that math has been studied for so many generations because it is the most transcendent and perfect truth available to us outside of divine revelation. Rather than take God out of the equation, we should embrace that He is the supreme mathematician. We strive to understand God through all His creation, and in this case, math is no exception. And although the Bible is our main source of knowledge about God, we can grow our relationship with him and gain a new appreciation for him through math. Vern Poythress, a mathematician, philosopher, and theologian, states that in exploring mathematics, one is exploring the nature of God's rule over the universe. In other words, one is exploring the nature of God himself. As Christians, we strive to know God more fully, and the way we can do this through math is to keep exploring the unknown. But how do we explore the unknown when students have been trained in answer getting instead of true mathematical discovery? After all, our nation suffers from a word John Allen Paulos, a math professor at Temple University, calls innumeracy, or an inability to deal comfortably with the fundamental notions of number. And a startling source of this innumeracy is school. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, math scores have dropped by 9 points in 2022, the lowest in more than 3 decades. The cause? Students have lost hope in the subject. In order to restore this hope and bring students closer to God, we must encourage exploration in math classrooms. And when we explore the unknown, we are also cultivating the virtue of imagination. According to medieval theologian Hugh of St. Victor in his Didascalicon, the soul's power to reason is of a divine nature, and therefore is not content with earthly knowledge, so it attempts to use the imagination to understand things beyond the sensible world. In this case, imagination is defined as a method of conceptualizing complex and non-physical concepts. When we explore the unknowns of God, we are using our imagination to aid us. Similarly, a student may explore new ways in solving a math problem, but this is only done through brainstorming and contemplating intangible ideas. Further, exploration in math is not only a medieval theory, since it also succeeds in our current world. For example, exploration as well as creativity have been implemented in classrooms through the Japanese style of teaching math. Japanese students are taught to solve problems through productive struggle, which includes asking questions to help them reflect on problems and focus their thinking. Instead of pushing for one right answer, students are encouraged to view math problems from different directions. This style of teaching allows students to play with math by utilizing their imaginations and thinking freely. We should adopt a similar approach, which includes asking questions like why, how, what happens if, as well as inspiring students to simply strive to know more. This approach will then lead us to an understanding of math that holds God as the sole pursuit. And when students start seeing God's intention and detail in every number, they find the true joy of math. I have found that true joy in math. Fractal geometry, specifically the Mandelbrot set, caught my attention from a YouTube video my calculus teacher showed me. I coded the Mandelbrot set on my computer, and an infinite, spiraling, and mysterious shape appeared on my screen. I felt overcome with emotion. There was an otherworldly feeling to the beautiful swirls and the repeating patterns that mesmerized me. I knew it was not just my creation. I was experiencing God's beautiful and infinite nature in all its fullness. I was experiencing his divine language of mathematics. And this divine language is open to everyone. May we all pay closer attention to mathematical ties in nature. May we all strive to know the meaning behind every formula. And may we all learn to speak this divine language and worship our beautiful, brilliant Creator God together. Thank you.